Coming up on Teen Talk, we're looking at charter schools and contract schools in our county. Hey there, AACPS. It's your host, Amanda Morataya, and welcome to Season 4 of Teen Talk. This is a show for students, and today's episode is all about our charter and contract schools. As a student at Chesapeake Science Point Charter School, I couldn't be more excited to explore what makes our charter schools so unique. We are going to be talking to administrators and students to dive into what makes them unique and the upcoming application process. Today, I am joined by Mr. Pat Crane, the AACPS Assistant Superintendent for Educational Options and School Climate, to look at the administrative side of charter school operations. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Crane.
My pleasure, Amanda.
So jumping right into it, what charter schools are in AACPS?
So right now we have two charter schools, Chesapeake Science Point Public Charter School, which is a pre-K to 12 school. It used to be two separate charter schools. It's now merged into one. And Monarch Academy in Glen Burnie is a K to 8 charter school as well.
And what exactly are charter schools?
So charter schools are schools that are public schools. The teachers are public school teachers. They are public school students. And these schools are given autonomy in exchange for accountability. So what that means is the schools that we have existing in Anne Arundel County right now have some freedom and flexibility to do things differently than our other schools. It operates on a contract, which is what the charter is. And in our county right now, there's 7 years. So during that 7-year period, our charter schools are responsible for high student outcomes. And at the end of that 7-year period, there's a renewal process. And they, if they're doing everything right, they should get renewed. But again, it's essentially an exchange, autonomy exchange for accountability.
So speaking of our two charter schools, how does Chesapeake Science Point differ from Monarch Academy schools?
So two big differences. One is they're both operated by two different operators, Chesapeake Science Point being Chesapeake Lighthouse Foundation and the Monarchs being the Children's Guild. But really the bigger difference are the programmatic differences within the school. So Chesapeake Science Point, as you know, from being a student there, is much more STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math focused, where the Monarchs are more inquiry based. Monarch Annapolis and Monarch Global are international baccalaureate schools, and Monarch in Glen Burnie is an expeditionary learning school.
What contract schools are in AACPS?
So currently we have two contract schools, Monarch Annapolis and Monarch Global Academy in Laurel.
What is a contract school?
So the big differences between a charter and a contract school are charter schools are created under the Maryland Charter School law. And according to the Maryland Charter School law, when a charter school opens in a district, it's open to the entire county. Contract schools, on the other hand, are developed with a partnership between the district and the operator. And it's usually in response to overcrowding or some other reason why you want to create a school in a certain area. So with Monarch Global and Monarch Annapolis, they were created both in Laurel and Annapolis in response to overcrowding. So those schools typically take students just from those catchment areas.
And you mentioned contracts. How exactly are the charter schools impacted by the Board of Education?
So the Board of Education in Maryland is what we call the authorizer. So the authorizer is the body that's responsible for approving the charter school's operation, but they're also responsible for any major changes with a contract. So during the contract period, if a charter school wanted to make a modification or a change, they would have to go in front of the Board of Education and the board would have to vote to approve that change.
Okay. What guidelines do charter schools have to meet to be renewed?
So they have to ensure that they have met all of the requirements that the charter agreement has laid out. So the charter agreement is a multi-page document. It's a legally binding agreement, and within that document, there are several things that charter schools have to do in order to continue to operate. One of the biggest things is they have to make sure that students are learning at a very high rate. The other thing is they have to be financially sustainable. So charter schools are schools that operate in their own budget, and so they have to manage a multi-million-dollar budget, and they also have to have a really nice, stable facility as well. So as long as schools are providing outcomes for kids and they're financially sustainable and the facility is in great shape and available to house students in a successful way, then they should be renewed.
Awesome. So does Chesapeake Science Point and Monarch Academy have the same contract?
They have very similar contracts. They're on different terms because they've both been renewed at different times, but currently they both have a 7-year contract.
Okay. In what circumstances are charter schools seen as public schools, and when would they be differentiated?
So they're never differentiated. they're going to be public schools in every way. Again, because they are funded from taxpayer dollars, they have to operate as a public school. And so again, teachers are Anne Arundel County public school teachers, students are Anne Arundel County public school students. And so in every way, they are public school, other than they're given some freedom and autonomy to operate differently.
Right. And speaking of funding, how does that necessarily differ from a public school and a charter school?
One of the big ways is that the charter schools receive all of their funding. So with traditional public schools, they're funded very similar to charter schools, but the schools don't have the freedoms and autonomies to spend their budget the way they want to spend it. So Chesapeake Science Point, for example, operates on a multi-million-dollar budget. That school receives all of those dollars, and then they decide how they want to spend it. So they might want to staff their school differently based on the amount of money they get. They might want to buy different resources. So they have the ability to spend their money differently.
Okay, that's awesome. How do students enter or join a charter school, and how are they advertised?
So they're purely 100% lottery basis. So with a charter school, if a student wants to go to Chesapeake Science Point, for example, there's a lottery window in our county. It opens this year on October 6th, and it runs through November 6th. During that window, a parent would have to put in an application for the charter school, and it's pure random lottery. So then the lottery is run, and unfortunately, it's pure luck. Whether you get in or not, you essentially have to win the lottery to get a seat.
Right, okay. And where could families or students find more information about charter schools in our county?
Yeah, so they can go to our website, Anne Arundel County Public School website, and go to the charter school page, and there's a bunch of different information about the enrollment process and the lottery window.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank Mr. Pat Crane for taking the time to discuss the key differences between charter and contract schools in our county. When we get back, we meet Ms. Megan Lewis and explore the purpose and mission of educational options in Anne Arundel County. Welcome back. We are here in the studio with Ms. Megan Lewis, the Director of Educational Options and School Climate in AACPS, to discuss the systems we have in our county. Hi, Ms. Lewis. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So jumping right to it, what are the educational options in schools or in AACPS, and what purpose do they serve?
So we have some wonderful parent choice and student choice options in Anne Arundel County. We have a RISE program, which stands for Restorative Interventions and Supports for Elementary Students. That's in the elementary. We have 3 programs called ACE programs. Those are for our middle school students. Students stay enrolled in their home schools, and then they come for part of the day to our programs. And then we have the Phoenix Academy, which is a 6 through 12 school, which is parent choice. And we have some other avenues to that school as well. And then we have Evening High School, and we also have Virtual Academy, which is 4th grade through 12th grade.
That's awesome. In what ways are school climate initiatives like PBIS and restorative practices integrated into these schools?
Great question. So positive behavioral interventions and supports and restorative practices are all at different levels. As I mentioned, there's elementary, middle, and high school. They are all integrated in different ways based on the age of the student. And we really try to have an approach where we are creating a community. So that's where our restorative practices comes in. We are creating a place where students and staff are connected. Staff is connected very heavily with students in the sense of building positive relationships. We are really acknowledging students for all of their growth and what they do to make a positive impact in their learning. It's all about growth in all of these programs and schools. And so then also sometimes we make some choices that require us to be accountable for those actions. And that is also where restorative practices comes in, and our PBIS, whereas we have a continuum of consequences, but with learning. It's all about teaching and learning. Who do you want to be, and how are you going to be able to be the best student at whatever level you are, with being able to eventually leave our school system and have a positive impact on your larger community.
That is incredible, and I know I see that in my school. So what strategies are used to make sure that these students in these schools feel integrated into the broader Anne Arundel County community?
So all of our programs have stakeholders. We have stakeholder meetings. Some are monthly, some are quarterly. For example, at the Phoenix Academy, we do a really great job of having what we call community events. So we might have attendance celebrations, we have honor roll celebrations, and we invite community partners in. We invite students' homeschool administrators and or anybody that they had a connection with there. We also invite their families. So we have giveaways, we acknowledge the students, staff gets up and presents, they're catered. It's a very big deal. So it's a very important part of all of these programs in schools is to stay connected to the homeschool community, but as well as families and the larger community as well. We also have, for the ACE programs, we have stakeholder meetings. So all of the homeschools who send students there get to come and visit, and they actually participate in community building circles. They get to check in on their individual goals, and they talk about the honorable pathway back to their community, which is their home school. And at the RISE program for the elementary students, we do similar things. We're in more constant contact with the homeschools and the families, and we have some wraparound services that are available. So we partnered with Thrive Behavioral Health, and they also go in and help in the home and do some supports in the home, some therapeutic. So that really keeps that home school connection and the home community school as well.
That is so intentional and awesome. I love that.
We try to be.
Yeah. As director, how would you measure the success of school climate initiatives with the educational options in our county?
That is a really hard thing to measure, right? Because climate is really about the feel and how people are treating each other. And I know you and I in the pre-interview talked about some of the climate surveys and things that we have, and that is a great source of information, you know, talking to students, getting their feedback, talking to families, getting their feedback. How are things working for you? How do you feel? Do you feel like you belong? That is a major, I mean, you know, our mission is belong, grow, and succeed in Anne Arundel County. And a huge piece is making sure that families feel they belong, students feel like they belong. And that's a hard thing to measure sometimes, but we are doing a lot of work around interviewing and finding out how they feel like they belong. And then really the question is all of our students come to the programs and our schools with individual success plans. So that is another way we measure success. If they are meeting their individual goals, their grades, attendance, behavior, we look at a transition back to their home school, and that is really where we see the success of making sure that we have created students who can generalize the skills that they've learned in their homeschool environment. So it's another way that we measure our success. But you could walk through the halls of these programs and see the sense of belonging that is created and feel it. And so it's hard to measure, but there are some ways we do it quantitatively and qualitatively.
Yeah, that's incredible. And speaking of support, what resources are given to the staff and the teachers to help foster this positive environment?
Well, all of our programs in schools that I'm mainly talking about have a low staff to student ratio. So that is great. We've been able to, you know, it's about 1 to 10 at the Phoenix Academy, and it's even smaller in our ACE and our RISE programs. And that is a really great way to individualize. So we have staff there to support. We have a wonderful behavioral support team that goes through trainings that we have to make sure that we are keeping everybody in a place that where they feel safe to learn, they feel safe to grow, and they feel safe to take risks. So one of the trainings that we talk about is called Crisis Prevention Institute training, CPI for short. We also do all of our programs in schools are trained in restorative practices, community building circles, and then we have some staff trained in the restorative practices, repairing harm circles and things. We also are increasing our staff wellness and student wellness with Mary Kay Connerton. I don't know if you've had her on yet. I'm sure you will if you haven't. But yeah, she's a rock star. But she's done a lot with our Phoenix Academy and our schools and making sure staff is taking care of themselves so that they can take care of the students as well and be available.
That's so incredible and exciting. Thank you so much.
I should probably also mention 2 other partners. Our ACE program partners with the Boys and Girls Club in Annapolis and in Severn. And then we also have our partnership I mentioned before with Thrive Behavioral Health, and that's for our RISE program. So those are some other resources as well.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Ms. Megan Lewis for taking the time to talk about how educational options operate in AACPS and the impact they have on all of our county schools. When we return, we are going to explore the student perspective on charter schools in our county at Chesapeake Science Point.
Outdoor education gives the students a greater experience than they could get in the classroom. They're getting hands-on learning, they're making connections, but they're also getting to explore the world they don't normally see in a way that we can't get into the classroom.
They actually get hands-on, everyday experience with the surrounding area, with what they're learning, which makes it easier to stick with them.
I'm really glad they get to come out here. I think it's just a tremendous effort for them to be a part of the environment.
They're getting their hands dirty, they're having fun, they're more engaged, and they're all smiles.
They get a chance to not just learn and get an education for their head, but also apply it.
They take it home with them, they definitely do.
So it does give them a value and a lot of that character building to make a connection to their own lives.
It's important for my children to know that they have to respect the outdoors and leave it as it is so that they can continue to have the things that they like.
It's pretty important for them to know what they do and how that affects the area around us.
We're really contributing to the bay, and I really feel like sooner or later we're going to make a difference in nature.
Welcome back. Now we're at my school, Chesapeake Science Point, and we'll be talking to students about their experience with a charter school. Hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So, how did you hear about CSP?
Well, the way I heard about CSP is through my two older siblings who have previously graduated, one in class of 24 and the other in class of 25.
What school would you have gone to if not Chesapeake Science Point?
Honestly, it would have been two options. Initially, Old Mill, which would be my home school, but it's recently changed to Summer Run.
Me too. What do you think makes CSP different from other schools?
Honestly, I believe it's a sense of community. A lot of people may complain about a small school, but I think it's very entertaining, very productive. I love seeing my grade mates in the halls. I love knowing people from other grades, including you, and just my peers in general, including teachers. I love having teachers again in another grade, and it just creates that sense of community.
Absolutely. More specifically, what do you think your favorite part about CSP is?
Honestly, although I do love the sense of community, I do have to talk about the clubs. I think that's my favorite part, especially with the variety. I'm more of a history person than sciencey, so I prefer mock trial, National History Day. But I do enjoy being in other clubs such as BSU, National Art Honor Society, and even study hall or math tutoring.
Totally. And you were talking about community and clubs. Do you think CSP's small size has any impact on this?
Honestly, I'd say it does have a significant impact. In my personal opinion, I do have a controlled group in my clubs, and I think it causes us to be more efficient and more productive in contrast to, like I say, gym club, very chaotic, very rowdy, but overall for CSP, that sense of community is definitely there with a controlled amount of people.
Great. Thank you for meeting with me.
Of course.
Hi, Martin. Thanks for meeting with me today.
My pleasure.
So how did you hear about CSP?
I had a family friend that went here, and they liked the school, so I ended up going here too.
That's great. So if you didn't go to CSP, where would you have gone?
I would be going to Crofton High.
Have you been here since 6th grade?
Yes, I have.
So what do you think makes CSP different from other schools?
I think what makes it really different from other schools is the cohort program, or the dual enrollment program. It allows students to take college classes built into the school day.
What is your favorite college class you've taken so far?
It would definitely be Mr. Carloni's oral communications class. It was just very fun.
Yeah, that sounds important. What is your favorite part about CSP?
It would be the clubs. I feel the teachers are very passionate about the clubs. Right now, I'm in the Asian Student Union, and we have some plans, and math team's going to open up soon, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's great. And you talked about clubs and teachers. Do you think the small size of CSP has any impact on the school community and culture?
I would say so, yes. Sport teams are kind of hard because we're having difficulty getting enough people to play sports, and it's hard to create new sports teams because we don't,
Definitely. Are there any other clubs or activities you like to do at CSP?
I remember I was talking to one of the teachers here, Mr. Batiste. He does boxing, and I think it'd just be really cool if we had a boxing team.
That's great. Thank you for meeting with me today.
No, thank you.
Hey, Ava. Thanks for meeting with me today.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Same. So how did you find out about CSP?
I got a recommendation from like a teacher, recommended it to my parents, and they signed me and my sisters up.
So did you always go to CSP?
No, up till my sophomore year I went to Old Mill.
How do you think CSP is different from Old Mill?
It's a much tighter knit community. Old Mill, my class was 600 people. My class here is about 70. So I know everybody by name. I know most people like in a very either associates or friends or close friends way, much different than Old Mill where I probably only knew like a quarter of the class by name.
So more specifically, what do you think your favorite part about CSP is?
I like the community. There's not bullying here like there is at Old Mill. There's not cliques really. There are friend groups, but there aren't like mean rivalries.
Awesome. Are there any sports or activities you like to do?
Yeah, I'm in volleyball here. I'm in the SGA. I'm the SGA treasurer for my class. I'm in the National Honor Society, National Science Honor Society, and Math Honor Society. That's pretty much it.
So as a new student, was it easy or hard for you to find community here at CSP?
It was very easy. I joined volleyball. Volleyball started a few weeks before school, and I got to meet some people and get integrated with people before the school year started. So they kind of helped me in the transition of finding a community here.
Awesome. Do you think the small size of CSP had any impact on finding friends or joining clubs?
Definitely. It's much easier to find friends whenever everyone knows each other and can recommend other people to me. My classes, I have a lot of different people in the classes, so I basically met the whole school after a few days.
Awesome. Thank you for meeting with me, Ava.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Danny. Thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, same. So how did you find out about Chesapeake Science Point?
So I found out about CSP through my friend who planned on going here but couldn't get in through the lottery process.
What do you think makes CSP different from other schools?
I feel like the thing that makes us different is that we are like such a small school with such a tight-knit community, and we just take a lot of things really seriously.
What necessarily do you take seriously?
So we take like academics, clubs, all those things so seriously here. And I just really like that. I like the academic aspect a lot as well because that's something that I enjoy a lot.
Do you think it's more of the students taking it seriously or the teachers?
I think everybody plays a role in it because especially for clubs, like students, they choose that they want to do the clubs, and the teachers kind of keep everybody on track and make sure that everybody is like doing the things that they have to do at the right times.
Absolutely. Are there any clubs or activities you're involved with?
So my most important one is student council, where I've been in student council for the past 2 years, and this is the third year I plan on being an officer. It's probably my favorite thing about CSP because we like do so much with it, and yeah.
That's awesome. Miss Clyde is amazing. More specifically, as a student council member, do you have a favorite CSP tradition?
For CSP traditions, I'm torn between Earth Fest and Culture Fest because like Earth Fest is so fun to have like the whole day. You get to see everybody. The food trucks are nice, like all the activities are so fun. And then Culture Fest is nice to like learn about everybody's culture, see it like dress up and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you for meeting with me, Danny.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank Lauren, Martin, Ava, and Danny for taking the time to talk with me today about Chesapeake Science Point and how charter schools shape class culture and learning. I want to give a huge thank you to all of my guests for joining me today. We appreciated gaining insights into the unique learning system of charter schools and educational options in AACPS. I know I learned a lot about the impact they have and how they are operated. I hope you found this episode both engaging and informative, and look for ways school climate initiatives are incorporated into your school. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Teen Talk.